Hey guys, it's Jason here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. Today guys, we're going to talk about the HoBao Hyper MT Plus 2. I've had this truck now for just over a week. I've ran it a couple of times. I've had some fun with it. Unfortunately, at one point I did break a rod end, which sort of stopped my fun there for a bit, but I've got the truck back together. And what I want to do in this video guys is sort of a kind of a final review, but not so much. Basically, I'm going to talk about the truck up till now. I'm going to talk about the truck in the RTR format because this truck does need definitely some tuning. Diffs, shock oils, all that kind of fun stuff. But what I want to do is, again, just give you guys my impressions of this truck in the RTR form and answer the question, because it seems to always be one of the biggest questions, is would I recommend this truck? Who is this truck for? And is this a fun truck? So let's get straight into it. All right, guys, what I'm going to start with first is who would buy this truck and would I recommend it? The people that would buy this truck are your general bashers, the guys that just want to charge up some batteries and go anywhere. So whether they are going outside in front of their house, whether they're going to a construction lot down the street, anywhere. The beauty of an MT, a monster truck, is the fact that it's big, it's got big tires, it's got big suspension, it's going to go anywhere, and you're going to be able to have fun with it anywhere. Since I've had the truck, I've taken it up the street, I've gone to a schoolyard, I've gone to a few other places, and the beauty of the truck is it just pounds over everything. So you're not limited to what you can do with this truck. I have in the past bought trucks that I really, really want and that are also very, very good trucks, but when I start jumping them, when I start doing other things with them, you start to see the limitations of them. They land so hard because they've got smaller tires and all this kind of stuff. This is not the case with the HoBao Hyper MT Plus 2. It's a big truck, big suspension, big tires, and definitely a lot of fun to drive no matter where you take it. One thing I should definitely point out is, since we're looking at the body right now, is how high quality this body is. I've had it out, I've rolled it, I've smashed it, I've banged it, and the body hasn't separated anywhere. Not on the back, not, like around the tailgate, not around where the body posts are. Nothing. It's definitely taken a beating, and I really like that because I do have the clear body as well that I'm getting painted, and I was kind of just going to let that body sit on the shelf. But now that I've been driving the truck and seeing what this body can take, I'm pretty sure I will probably run that body as well. Even though I'll muck it up a little bit, who cares? What's the point of having a nice body if you actually can't see it on the truck and you can't see it on the truck moving? In my opinion, when you remove the body off this truck is when you see how high quality this truck is. HoBao does not advertise this truck as a, premium truck. It's, some manufacturers will, often say, it's an upscale, it's a premium version of a truck. They don't do that. This is just, hey, the HoBao Hyper MT Plus 2. But I do find that everything on here is very high quality. It's all CNC machined. You can't help but just, when you remove the body on this truck, just to kind of check things over a little bit, you kind of stare, especially that transmission mount. It's CNC machined. It looks amazing. And again, for me, when you spend this kind of money on a truck, you really want to see something that just looks good, and you want to see something that, makes you think, yeah, my money was well spent. All right, guys, next we're going to talk about the battery tray, because I really believe this is one of the best battery trays in the business. When I first saw this, I thought, man, I don't like this at all. This seems like it's just going to be a bad idea. But honestly, this battery tray is killer. What's nice about it is that you can put your batteries in, use a couple of little pieces of foam block. The truck actually does come with a few of them. I just found some in one of my drawers that I'd been using. And I put in the foam, I grabbed the Velcro straps. You can grab these things, tighten them down, give them a really good snug fit, because obviously it's a lot easier because it's not attached to anything, and you really get a good fit on the battery. You actually can almost notice here that the battery tray itself even looks like it's just like kind of, smooshed in a little bit because I'm tugging on those Velcro straps so hard. Every time I drove this truck, the batteries obviously did not go anywhere. The clips themselves stay in no problem. The weird thing is the truck does actually come with those battery trays in upside down, but I mean, it takes all of a couple of seconds just to take them out and attach the Velcro and put them back in. Definitely, in my opinion, probably one of the best battery trays in the business, and I wish more trucks had them. All right, guys, next we're going to talk about the ESC Motor. It's a Hobby Wing 150 amp 6S ESC with a 2000 kV motor. And I'm, happy to say, guys, they do a really, really good job of moving this truck along. I did purchase the optional clamp so I can fit a slightly larger motor in there. But, I'll be honest, guys, I actually found this setup to work really, really well in this truck. The only thing I did notice at one point was that the motor was getting a little bit warm. I should say warm is the wrong word. It was getting pretty hot. So I have purchased a 15 tooth pinion. The truck comes with a 16 tooth pinion. I've purchased a 15 tooth that I'm going to install just to kind of, help a little bit, see if it'll reduce the heat a little bit, but still, not impact my top speed or anything like that very much. Obviously, guys, in future videos, we'll be following up with that and seeing how that goes. But again, very impressed. The stock electronics definitely move this truck. All right, next we are going to talk about the chassis and how awesome it really is. When you first see this truck in pictures, you think it's going to be a twin vertical plate truck. You think it's going to be like an HBI Savage, all that kind of stuff. And we all know the problems with having twin vertical plate trucks are. What's nice about this, guys, is it's like a U-style chassis, U-tub style chassis, where you have this 4mm thick skid right here, where everything bolts onto, the differential and all that stuff bolts onto, where there's a ton of strength there, but then it comes down into 3mm along the side of the chassis, so it kind of helps reduce a bit of the weight, but you've still got a ton of bracing, between the electronics tray, between the transmission mount. You have a lot of bracing there, so you definitely are going to keep your strength, and I don't see having any issues with the chassis whatsoever. I think they did this extremely right. You don't get that separation. I find with a lot of trucks, when you got the twin vertical plates, just where they bolt on, whether it's a bulkhead or however it's set up, can really, weaken the truck there. That's always that bad point. That's not going to be the case with this truck. It's definitely, I can't see having any breakages at those parts whatsoever. All right, guys, we're going to change things up just a little bit here. What I thought I would do is install a few of the optional parts that I got for the truck. One of them is this right here. It's the chassis support plate. It goes obviously underneath and in between the chassis, just makes things a little bit more rigid. Personally, I think the truck is very rigid to begin with. It's very strong in that department. I just thought though, however, this was just a really nice piece, so I kind of wanted it. The other parts we're going to be installing today are the optional aluminum steering knuckle arms. These are obviously blue aluminum. They replace the plastic ones that are on the truck now. So again, I've not broken any of those parts, but I've got them, so let's get them installed. was not going to make you guys sit through me putting 4 of those on because they took a little bit longer than I thought. But I've got them on, guys, and they look great. A lot of companies have, whether it be aluminum or carbon fiber, sort of those little arms that are attached to the knuckles just to add strength. So these are definitely beefy. They actually attach with 4 screws. The stock ones just use those first 2 screws close to the arm. So that's definitely going to add a lot of strength. Plus, honestly, guys, in my opinion, they just look great. Again, they make this truck look even higher end than it already is. So this was definitely something that, I was kind of glad I got initially with the truck, and now I've got them installed. All right, we're going to move on now to the chassis brace, and this thing looks great also. It's going to provide some nice protection for the servo as well as that drive shaft, and it just looks really, really good. Again, I've mentioned this a few times. I don't really think it needs to be there to provide, bracing for the chassis or anything like that. It's already very well braced as it is, but again, this just adds a little bit more support. You've heard me talk a lot about all the things I like about this truck, and to be fair, guys, the list is pretty long. I feel like I could keep going on and on. However, the one complaint I do have with this truck is the servo. Even though it is a 32 kilogram servo, it's 32 kilograms at 7.4 volts. The problem is this ESC, the hobby wing that's in here right now, is a 6 volt ESC, and to kind of put that, guys, into perspective, when comparing servos and comparing different models of servos, that jump from 6 volts to 7.4 usually means anywhere from about 100 to 150 ounces extra of torque. Just from, again, guys, the servos that I was looking at and stuff like that. So unfortunately, you do lose a ton of torque because you can't get this servo to 7.4 volts. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to either purchase probably, guys, an external BEC, and that way I can bump the servo up to 7.4 volts and get that extra torque, get that full 32 kilograms. Because I do feel right now that the one thing that I definitely noticed when driving this truck was that the steering was not the greatest. You really need a big turning circle, and a few times I actually plowed this truck into stuff because I'm so used to a more quicker, snappier steering that unfortunately I was not getting from this servo. But again, it's an easy fix, external BEC, and we'll be good to go. I have made you sit through a lot, so what I'm going to do now is sum up this review as well as actually tell you a little bit about HoBao first. I've actually seen where people are like, I don't know if I want to purchase this truck. I don't know if I want to purchase it from a brand I don't know, or from a brand that, a new brand, an off brand. I think I've also seen it referred to. For those that don't know, HoBao was the OEM for OFNA, which basically means they made and produced most of OFNA's vehicles. All the parts, all that stuff were built by HoBao. So when OFNA unfortunately sort of fell, I believe a lot of it had to do with just advertising from other companies and stuff like that. HoBao decided to just go ahead and make their own truck. And, they went through a few different versions even of this truck. This obviously is the Hyper MT Plus 2. But they're growing like every other company. And this truck, guys, is amazing. Will I recommend it? Will I tell people to buy it? Yes. You get a great truck right out of the box. The fact that, I can take this truck out before tuning it, before even getting into the diffs or anything like that, and enjoy it, that's, guys, something to say, because I've got other trucks. If you've watched the channel, I have other trucks, guys, in this room that were just not fun when I first got them. And one of them, I even took a day off work so I could pull the center diff apart and rebuild it and do it properly, because I wasn't enjoying it. And now, to be fair, hey, I got that diff tuned up. The truck's a blast now. This truck needs that. It does need, a thicker diff fluid, but it's still fun out of the box. And the fact that, you can rip this thing along, pull wheelies, all that kind of fun stuff, really says something to say about this truck. I will be looking forward to tuning the truck. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to, probably, guys, going to maybe like a 500 thou diff fluid. I don't want to go too thick because I want to be able to keep this truck the way it is, where I can rip it around and you know, throw it around corners and power slide and all that fun stuff. But I definitely want to reduce some of the ballooning. I want to get, you know, more of that power to the rear tires for acceleration, for wheelies, all that kind of stuff. But, you know, this truck, guys, if I had to, you know, sum it up, it just has great bones. You have a great platform you're working with. You're working with a 7-scale monster truck. You're working with a great chassis. You know, the stock electronics, guys, you know, even though they're not high-end electronics, they're definitely moving this truck along good. And, you know, I feel like for not really, guys, a lot of money, you know, you might even already have the fluids, you know, in your shop. You're going to get a very good truck without having to spend a lot of money. And for me, you know, I look at some of the other trucks I have, especially one of my biggest ones. It's got a ton of money in it, and it took me a year to get that truck to be fun. This truck, guys, is not the case. I can take it out now and enjoy it, rip it around, whether I'm driving it on gravel, grass, it doesn't matter. It performs the way I want it to. The wheels and tires were, again, something I thought I was going to change right off the bat. I have the 17mm adapters for them, but they do a great job. They allow me to slide it. They allow me to rip around on the gravel with it, but yet still pull wheelies. You know, it still moves along good in grass. Yeah, those tires probably, guys, will be staying on the truck most of the time. I will be doing the 17mm adapters at one point. I will be installing my belted trenchers. I'll be trying out the belted MX-38s, the Badlands. But I do really feel, guys, like I will be going back to these tires just because they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be, and they do make the truck a lot of fun. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope you've watched this video for the most part, from start to finish. I hope you've taken it all in. I know I've talked a lot, but I really feel like, guys, this truck kind of needs that. I want to touch on the points that make this truck awesome. I want to touch on the points that, you know, you don't need to replace the ESC motor right away, even though I know people do. You know, besides, guys, from, like I said, the bit of the heat issue, which I'm hoping to, you know, rectify with changing the pinion, dropping a tooth, the electronics do a great job. Servo, yeah, that's one issue that I definitely have to fix. But guys, this truck out of the box has been a blast, and I've really enjoyed it, and I look forward to what's coming next with, you know, tuning and all that fun stuff, trying out, you know, different sets of wheels and tires on it. Even though I can honestly say, guys, I really like those tires. They, you know, they do look a little bit different. Obviously they don't look as cool as something like a trencher, but in my opinion, guys, they perform better. You know, it's funny, I keep buying trenchers, but for some reason I always seem to be kind of disappointed with them. So anyways, guys, thanks a lot for watching. And as always, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, please subscribe, and enjoy the pics.